Hello, Jean-Claude. Hello, hello. Hello, Jean-Claude. Hello, everyone. I was trying to fix this comment. Yes. Yes, this is Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude being Jean-Claude. I will put my mic, ok? Pessoal, muito feliz com a participação do Jean-Claude aqui. Vamos encaminhar essa live aí para mais pessoas virem até a gente. 1h da tarde no Brasil. Essa música de Major Lazer, Get Free. Olá, pessoal, vamos lá. Vamos chamar esse rapaz. Vamos chamar esse rapaz, porque eu estou ansiosa para falar com ele. A música vai estar na nossa playlist do Chá com Joe. The song will be on our playlist, the Spotify playlist or the YouTube playlist. Okay? Now you are with us, Jean-Claude. I will invite you, okay? I'm excited to have you here. Where are you? Hello, Jean-Claude. Where's him? Where's Jean-Claude? Cadê Jean-Claude? Parece aguardar. I'm just waiting. Are you there? Jean-Claude, can you see me? I will cancel and call again. Let's go. Olá a todos.
Hello. It worked.
Yes, of course it worked.
I was worried for 1 second.
Yeah, but you know, with you we have to have emotion. With
Yes, always.
it has to be like that, you know.
No, just because I got a new phone today, actually. My old phone broke, and I had to enable the camera and the microphone with Instagram, so I had to go in the settings. So that's why I was gone for a second. But got the tea, my little Japanese can, I got my little pot.
That's
so
amazing.
I'm gonna start
You're so
with a
amazing.
little bit of tea. And once the tea is in,
Yes.
ready. I'm ready.
I need my tea because the lady didn't gave me yet. You know, can you believe it?
Look at who comes here. When I do tea, my cat comes. He always joins me. Because whenever I sit and I relax,
Yes. What's her name?
she sits on my lap. and she wants to have tea with us. So that's one of my sweet babies.
Yes.
So how are you?
I'm fine, better now. Thank you so much. Yes. So much for being here. Miss you actually.
It's been a while.
Yes.
But I'm on my way. Always on my way.
I know. I'm so glad that you're here. It's our last day of this season, you know, the TWHO season. After 100 talks, you know.
How many you did actually?
More than 100. Around 101. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Respect.
We started in June, and then we did 60 straight. No.
What do you mean straight? Every day?
Every single day, Saturday, Sunday, my birthday, and everything.
Do you have a life?
Yeah.
Do you have a life?
Yes, I do.
It's your life. Your life is Tea with Joe.
Actually, I do. By the time of the Tea with Joe, only for you to know, sometimes I have to make up a little bit so then my life can be with me here, you know?
Oh, great.
For example, I don't know if you can hear it. Can you see me now?
I see you very well.
For today, because the kids didn't have school, so today I have this.
All right. Hello, everybody. That's great. So you won't get bored, you know?
No.
And you have to multitask.
Can you believe it? Yes.
Very good.
And I'm here to share your thoughts about this Pilates world with the community, because I know you were so amazing with this. You were so inspirational. I know you for a while, but I know you even before the person in person, right? I met you from your videos. I used to use your videos to show my students, you know, the sequences, the videos, and that guy that did, you know, those videos pretending it was like a shadow, and it looked like Joseph Pilates in German, and he was just doing the math, not just the math, but meu chá. Yeah, eu já tinha pedido faz tempo. Yeah. Eu tinha pedido meu chá faz tempo já. Já, por favor. Sorry. It's my tea.
No problem.
How can I have my last day without my tea?
No, it's great. I'm so happy to share that tea with you. And I'm sorry that it took some time, but you know, it's very typical me. It always takes some time, but once we get it done, it just happens and it gets over us. So that's somehow how it works with me. In that case, I'm not very German. I'm not so well in organize things in advance, and they always turn out to completely different. Like my Pilates journey, same thing. I didn't plan that. I didn't plan any of it. And not the videos, not that I'm going to become a teacher, nothing of it. It just happened somehow. Yes.
Talk a little bit about that. Because it's just amazing. Life called you, right? Life's called you.
I think life is calling all of us. Life is calling all of us to live it. Yes, to live it and take it in our hands. Let's put it this way: to take life in our hands and to try to enjoy it. You know, and it's not always easy. I also, you know, I thought about this interview, and I didn't give an interview so far. This is my first interview, and maybe it's my last. Who knows? But,
no.
I know. Even if I'm just saying, I'm not such an interview guy. But it's, you know, I have a feeling, of course it's important. And it's also what I like about it as well, maybe to share, I don't know, in a way, we all have different sides, or we all have let's put it the bright side, the dark side. I thought about this interview, and I thought maybe what kind of things, what I wanted to share as well. Hey, this cat is with the candles. You go there. So, of course, you said you generally, because I saw just a few of your Tea with Joe, since I kind of passed it and I didn't even realize it's really happening. Otherwise, I would have, you know, listened much more. And of course, as well, now you do it all in English. Before it was in Portuguese, no? Most of them, from the hundreds. How are you gonna do it? You're gonna subtitle for the people now? You're gonna write a subtitle for those 24 hours? So they understand? Or how does it work?
Yeah, this is what I'm doing. At the beginning, we were only in Portuguese, right? And then after, we started like in Spanish. But Spanish is easier for
them to
listening.
connect.
Yeah, that's okay. And then when I started in English, I did it like a few, like that, hard.
Yes, I didn't see it, but I would have liked to. But like translating what he says,
I was translating. But what's the bad part of it? Some Spanish people, some people from English countries, they are watching also. And when I translate immediately, sometimes not good. So what I'm doing is promising people that I'm gonna do the subtitle for the 3 last ones. I did like only 3 that didn't have the translation. That's why I think I can enjoy more of the time.
Definitely.
Of what you have to say it. And then as soon as this season finished, I will start to do the subtitle,
Great. So you do like a revival. You do like the Tea with Joe, get it all together. And you make like a whole cut of like 20 hours or 30, no, how many? 100 hours of Tea with Joe.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's great. I could talk with you forever. Yes, tell me something.
I don't know for you if I'm being cutting for you, but you are kind of pausing. I don't know for people. Yeah, sometimes
my connection.
You're pausing. Probably, I don't know.
Okay, my connection.
Or mine.
How do you hear me vocally? Do you hear my voice, or is it only the video stucking?
Just the video is pausing.
Just the video. Well, then it's not such a problem. If it's the video only, I just hope that I feast in funny faces. You let me know in case, But
Okay, not funny faces, but I wish I could see all your laughs because it's amazing. But that's okay. It's like a podcast. Let me know. See, some people they are seeing you perfectly. So let's start because we have maximum 60 minutes here.
Got it.
Because Instagram cut us.
Got the rules. We got the rules. And we got to play by the rules this time, exceptionally.
Yeah. I want to enjoy your time. I'm here to hear you. If you want to talk a little bit on how we started, everything for you, how did you start with this? I'm here to listen.
Like the start, kind of how I got into Pilates is kind of like very basic. Basic, let's say like I was a dancer, I got injured, I started Pilates, That's kind of many dancers, many people, especially from Romanas Pilates, I think that's kind of how they started. It's very typical, let's say.
Yes.
And it does totally make sense in the way that as a dancer, of course, I've been dancing all my life. I did many things. I was always active, but, as a dancer and becoming a professional dancer, you're very body aware, so of course that's your job every day. You're working with your body. And, so when I first got in contact with Pilates, of course, very quickly you start to understand the complexity, and you start to feel, you're very sensible to what it actually is, the power of it. I mean, the first time I got in contact with real Pilates, let's say, it's hard to tell when it was the first Pilates that I started, because when I was in the education here in Munich, it's the Musikhochschule, it's the Academy for the Arts, for music, and one department is for dance, and I got a scholarship, and part of it was kind of like, we called it floor bar. Yeah, and I hated it. It was like doing ballet exercises on the floor, and the teacher she was mixing floor bar exercises with like Pilates exercises, but I didn't even know what it was.
Yes.
I just hated it anyway. So it was a fusion, and of course it was core work because you had to lie on the back and do like kicking your legs and tendus and battements and all of that. But a few things I got with it. Like the stomach series, and the roll up and the rollover. So there was a few things which I liked. So I just do them, as a warm up or whatever. But I didn't even know it was Pilates. So I was working a lot as a dancer. I mean, also for myself, I was always trying to do exercise on top, always stretch and strengthen exercises and, push-ups here, pull-ups here, stretch here. Very normal as a typical dancer.
Yeah.
But, I didn't do any extra exercise. I heard from, that there is Pilates and there's other yoga, but you don't have time. I mean, you don't have time for it because you're so busy. So you only get the time when you have the time, and this usually when you're injured. When you're obliged to stop, when you can't continue in your regular practice. And this is what happened. So my injury happened in Monte Carlo. At that time, I was dancing in Ballet Monte Carlo. And the injury started, was a knee problem, but it kind of started with an accident, with a scooter accident. So I had an accident with a scooter. It was raining, and I slipped and crashed against the wall, kind of. Actually, was a stone flower pot. And I bruised my right knee very, very badly. But the thing was, we went on tour, like 1 week or 2 weeks later, we went on Montreal and we were on the Canadian tour. And so what happened is that I was not really healthy, and I started to dance, and I had still very much pain in my right knee. So of course I was compensating, like all dancers, of course, when you're in pain, you dance anyway. You only dance, you don't dance when you're dead or you're bleeding out, but you make it work. So, but the problem is, of course, the compensation. So this is when it all started. I was compensating. I continued dancing. And after, it took another 6 months. And then my left knee was a mess. And it started, with a meniscus problem. Then I did a strange jump. I had the meniscus problem. Then they operated it. And they said, it's no problem. We don't really need the meniscus at that time. They just cut a little bit. And then again, inflamed. Another problem with the meniscus. So it kept going, and it became like a cartilage damage. So the cartilage is already quite serious. Usually you get that when you're old. Or I was quite young there. I was only, how old was I? 23, 24 when it all started. So I was in the middle of my career. So I was in the middle about getting really up there, becoming a soloist, so all of that. So that was terrible for me to accept that. And I had 4 knee operations in a very short period of time. So yeah, that was kind of, for me, impossible to dance anymore at that time. But I didn't want to give up. And all the doctors said, most of them said, it's over. My friend, you have to accept you cannot dance no more. I went to a specialist in France. I went to the team doctor for the Monaco football specialist, and he says, no, it's chronically inflamed. You're going to have an artificial knee joint soon, and you're not going to dance anymore, not on the professional level. And I didn't want to accept that. At that time, there was a dancer, Italian guy, Max Monfroy, and he was the first guy who opened the first Pilates studio in Monte Carlo. So he also used to be a dancer in Monte Carlo, just he stopped earlier. He had a problem with his ankle. And then he went to London and he did the Alan Hurtman certification with Alan Hurtman and the balanced body. And he opened the first studio, small studio with a few Cadillac, Reformer. So, this is how I got to the first proper Pilates class, let's say, was working on a Reformer. So the first time I was on a Reformer there. And we started very much like Reha, like the Methodist, exercises here a little bit. And it was good. I could do it because I couldn't do much. I couldn't do the physio. I had problems with all the equipment that they were putting me on. But the Pilates worked. So I was like, wow, that seems to work. And the Reformer I fell in love with right away. So the carriage and doing those things, I felt right. So things got better. But of course, that was not all. Then I went to Munich as well, to my doctor that I trust, and he's the very famous German doctor. He's the doctor for the national football team, and he was the only guy who was like, we're gonna do this. If you do the right physical education, the right strengthening, and also the right therapy, with the injections that he gave me, so we get you back. And kind of to cut it a little bit short, it took me like 2 years. I stopped for 2 years dancing, and it took me 2 years to kind of regenerate or get back to it, because my biggest thing, all I wanted is getting back to dance. So, I started to take Pilates classes. I was doing exercise every day, strengthening. And then at some point I said, what am I going to do with my time? I don't know if I'm going to make it. And then I was very fortunate because there were, at this time, I was at Monte Carlo, there's the Friends of the Ballet, they're called. They're like rich people usually. They are very into arts. And they support the dancers. So they knew that I had to stop dancing in the middle of my career, and they were kind of like, they wanted to support me in one way or another. So they asked me, if you know some certification or something we can help you with for your future, let me know. So first thing I wanted to become, I said, like, I want to do acting classes. I want to become a theater actor because I said, like, you know, I love to be on stage. I'd like to continue being on stage, and I'd like to do a theater acting. You know, I've always was interested in that too. But they said, you know, it has to be something more compact, not like this long study in Germany and whatever. And then I said, like, oh, why not do a Pilates certification? Instead of going to the studio and pay every session, you know, I said, you know, let's do a certification. So I learn all the exercises, I learn all about Pilates, and then I can take care of myself about it. Yeah. So on top, they said, like, oh yeah, how long does it take? And I was like, checking. Of course, then I started the Google thing. I started to figure out what is Pilates, where is it from, all of those things, you know. And with the internet, it was quite good to research it as well. And, you know, I mean, I tried a few things. I started with the contemporary, with Balanced Body and Alan Hertman. But, you know, I was curious about all of that. So I started reading, digging deeper, finding the root. And, you know, I'm a DJ as well. So I like to DJ. And it's always nice. It's always nice when you like a remix of a song. It's always nice to know what was the original. It's always curious for me. So if I like a remix, it's nice. So what influenced all the people to make the remix to create this new song that I like? So for me, it's natural to get to the source. So I wanted to know what is the most authentic, the most original way to understand how come that it turned up to be that way. It wasn't for me that this is better or not better. I just was curious about it. So this is slowly how I figured out to dig deeper that maybe, okay, there's classical Pilates. Then they said classical Pilates, that's what it seemed like. It's more athletic. It's more for dancers. It's more all this Romana thing that they said, you know, it's harder or more physical. But slowly my knee also got better. So I got stronger and stronger. And it's true then, when at least how I was trained, the Pilates, it kind of, there was no more evolution to it. It felt like I got to a certain level. And that was it. I was much better, but I had the feeling, now what's next? So, yes. And then I saw exercise and I was like, I want to try that. So I felt the challenge. I wanted to be challenged and I wanted to get stronger. So for me, that was not enough. I wanted to say, I wanted to become even better and even stronger after that, when I restart dancing again. So yeah, I somehow got to the classical method, but to go to New York was not necessarily really an option because the Friends of the Ballet wouldn't have paid that because they said, we can choose to go somewhere. We're going to pay for it, but you're not going to pay to go to New York, the hotel, the flight, and all of that. So they said, you know, the best, of course, would be to do it in France. Then I checked out the Paris, you know, where you can do classical Pilates, where you can do Romanas Pilates, and I found Marjorie Oron. Marjorie Oron is one of the first Romanas Pilates teachers. I think 1994, she opened her studio in The Hague and her certification Pilates with Romana. And I also like that it's in English. Somehow I had a better feeling, a sense to learn the method in English because it felt more direct, it felt more structured to me than in French. It was so much blah, 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 so much turking around. So I said, like, it makes sense to me, yeah? So at the end, I decided, and once I went to The Hague and I worked with Marjorie, and I really think she's an amazing teacher, she's an amazing woman, and it just felt right. I felt it right away. The studio is amazing. You go inside and you just, wow. I said, I'm home. That's the place. I want to be there. And I asked the friends and they said, okay, yeah, you can go to Holland. We pay for it. So I'm, how lucky. Not just that I even get paid for me. So I went to Holland and yes, I stayed there and I could do full time because I didn't have to work at that time and I couldn't dance. So I put all my energy into Pilates as much as I could. So I spent it actually every day from morning to evening in the studio. And I wanted to learn as much as possible in that time. So I did everything from, you know, working on the Pilates, apprentice, looking the classes, carrying the water, cleaning the studio when it's necessary, check out the office, open the door, make a coffee for a client. I mean, whatever, you name it, I was just there. And I enjoyed doing it because I said, you know, I learned how this business is working, not just the Pilates exercises, but everything. And I really, really loved my time there. And I think officially we had to do 750 apprentice hours, or I don't know what. I stopped counting after a certain time because I just spent so much time there. So eventually I think it took me a year and a half, about roughly a year and a half I was involved into that. Sometimes I went back to Monte Carlo, of course. But then after 1.5 years or 2 years after my injury, my initial injury, I felt stronger than ever. I felt I'm so ready for it. I can go back to professionally dance and I'm going to be better than before. And so, yeah, I did my certification. I finished. But, yeah, my first love was dancing. And, you know, I went back to dancing. And I started an audition again. And I went back to the companies I really wanted to love to dance. First, I went to Toulouse to see how my knee holds up. Then I had a little cutback. Then I got back into it. And then I went to Lyon in France. And I was dancing very contemporary dance. I really loved it. So that's the dancing continued. But I was saying, you know, it's great, the skills that I learned. So I do not just want to keep it for myself. I started to teach my fellow colleagues. So I teach my dancers, friends. So I started to teach people in the opera, other people, anybody who wanted. I bought my first reformer combo. I bought for at home. I bought an Allegro tower, not a classical equipment even, because it was cheaper, and I fitted in my living room. And I was teaching, whenever I was not dancing, I was teaching as much as I could. And I was teaching sometimes the warm-up for the people, so just to keep the connection. But for me, it was all about going back on stage. So that's the part about dancing. Eventually, it felt so much better to be a dancer and have the security that any time when I'm injured, I could immediately continue with another job. It gave me such a lightness. I mean, before as a dancer, you're always scared. You know it's going to end, but you don't know what you're going to do. And it felt very nice to have this Pilates behind me. So Pilates really got my back. I mean, not only physically it got me healthy, it also gave me a feeling of security, like control. Like I wasn't scared anymore, you know. So I said, I'm gonna dance as much as it works, as long as I can, and when it stops, I can teach. And that's kind of what happens. I was, you know, slowly, you know, my knee wasn't solved. I mean, I still have a knee problem, of course. Now I'm not able to, you know, just sprint like crazy or do certain things physically. I can't play basketball. If I play basketball for 2 hours now, I have a swollen knee tomorrow. But if I do intelligent exercise and the right value, then I'm fine. I can do everything with my body now, and I'm very happy about that. And that's all to the Pilates, to the investment that I put in there, the time, and I'm very thankful for that. So that's all that. Eventually, my career got to an end. Or actually slowly as well, I decided to change and shifting. And then it was about, you know, do I see myself in a career as a teaching Pilates? And this is how I got into starting the Bluebird Pilates. So first of all, I was still living in France. I wasn't sure where I'm going to open my studio. Clear was that my dream was to have my own studio. Yes, that was my dream, which I think many teachers, their dream is to have their own studio. Because then you can kind of, you know, then you can kind of run the business or develop yourself or teach the way you believe, you know, it suits you well and it's nice. And that's also another thing, what I love about Pilates, and talking about the song that you played, free, you know, in a way, the freedom, to have the freedom. And free as a bird.
That's where the name came from?
Yes, the name is a long story too, but definitely freedom and being as free as a bird is a very important aspect of it. I mean, I was always looking for freedom and always wanted to be free and independent. And as a dancer, you're independent, but of course, you're part of a team as well. And now I realize the older I get, of course, freedom, it's not about anarchy, complete freedom. Of course, you're always a player. It's about being in a team somehow. But it's about being able and have a choice, to have a choice. You know, every day you have a choice of what you're going to do. And it's nice to have your own business kind of, and have a choice every day in where the business is going to go next. That you decide what you want to change about it. If certain things you don't like, you don't have to first wait for it or fight for it or strike for it. So, and since I had my studio, every year my business changed. Every year it's something else. I mean, since 7 years I have the Bluebird Pilates, and now it's completely different, everything, than it was at the beginning. But I had to learn that. It's a learning process. And the hard part for me, you know, there's all the emotional part about Pilates, all the passionate part about Pilates, but there's also all the business part about Pilates, all the industry part about Pilates, and the dark side, let's call it, this thing that doesn't interest me in the first place, but it's part of it. You know, you can't have your studio without taking care of those things. And all those, you know, expectations from clients, all this, all the terror somehow, sometimes, where you just have to find a way how to deal with it, you know, with people. People are sometimes very difficult, especially since I teach a lot one-on-one private classes, you have to find a way how to deal with them, and you have to find a way how to protect yourself as well, because sharing is caring, but it always has to go both ways. So the energy, I always talk a lot about energy, about when I teach, like I dance, energy, the chi, the life energy, or the energy itself. So for me, it's all about that energy all the time, and the energy has to circulate always. So that's what we do with bodies. That's what Pilates does, the internal shower, the circulation, the flow, whatever you want to call it. Gloria has talked about the flow. I mean, it's all those things, same things, you know. If I'm a surfer, I would talk about the wave, you know. It's just like a wave. You have to ride the wave, you know. So it is, but sometimes the energy gets stuck. Sometimes it gets stuck because there is a, you know, there's a, when you get sick or something happens in your life, or people come to you with stuck energies and you try to liberate the flow. So it's always about, you know, finding your center, powerhouse and all of that, but also the connection and the circulation. It always has to circulate. And that is a mastery for itself. Teaching Pilates it's difficult. It's a life's work, but also just to figure out how those energies evolve and how they constant move, and how are you putting yourself into, how much are you gonna, how much it is necessary to invest yourself. When is it important to step back, to analyze, and also you have to all the time analyze the situation, what is going on. Yes, and that's a learning process, and I learned so much, and I learned a lot about it, and it wasn't, you know, it's like, it's not always easy really, and it's really, it's a great job to be a Pilates teacher, but it's a tough job too. Yeah, many people think, you do what you're passionate about, you love it, and so it's all good. Yeah, it's not that easy, because it all has its counterpart too. Because when you're passionate about what you do, when you love what you do, you sometimes lose yourself. Yeah, you lose yourself because you give yourself so much into it that you are giving, I can put it, maybe you're giving your life force. Like you are giving from your life force, meaning you give too much. The balance is not right. And then you empty yourself slowly. And I see that happening a lot. It happened to me. I see it happening a lot to other teachers. And that's something I really wanted to talk as well about. Because, yes, many people teach too many hours. Because they think they have to. Because, of course, it's a business. You have to pay the rent. And then you teach 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours a day. I mean, I taught up to 10, 11 hours. And some teachers say, yeah, I teach 20 hours a day. Or I don't know what. I do 60, 70 hours a week. I was like, yeah, maybe you can. And it's good. But this shouldn't be, it's not about that. It's not about how much you are able to teach. It's about how well, what's the right level for you. So you are actually in the middle, in the center, and you're not giving your life energy, but it is really give and take. And this is something where I'm still working on. Because when you give too much, you end up empty and whatever, you're down, and then you can't give anymore, and then you need to recharge your batteries. You have to find energy somewhere else. You have to go meditate, you have to go in the forest, you have to whatever you need to fill up your energy again, and then you go in again, and then you have those clients. Some clients, they suck you out, which you shouldn't let them, but still there's some people, they just come and they want to suck you out, and you have to learn how to deal with that. And
it's so true.
So yeah, but I must say I didn't expect it to be so difficult sometimes to teach Pilates and to run my business.
Yes,
and
a lot of people. I mean, in a lot of professionals, we have that, right? We have a I don't know, people, a singer that it's working too much, and then he get crazy, and then he has to stop and go to the woods so then he can relax and recharge it. And we are teaching about balance. This is so nice of you that is bringing this subject, you know, because it's too important for us to be all the time trying to find our balance. Because if we are not balanced, we are not gonna give the best that the client needs also, right? In terms
of course,
of
you gotta help yourself first. You have to help yourself to be able to help others. And yes, so your balance is very, very important, because this is what you're projecting on the people. And when you are teaching that hour too much on a day and you're tired, you are not giving the right thing to that person, to that student of yours. Yes. That's why now I say 6 hours a day. I'd like actually to only teach 5 hours a day. That's my ideal, 5 hours. Maybe next year I say I should only teach 3 hours a day. You know, but you have to find a way how you can make it. How I can, you know, not that I have to teach 10 hours a day, every day, 6 days a week. I don't want to be, a slave of my own passion to be a Pilates teacher. But it has to work out. So you have to find a way to make it work. In different countries, you have different systems, and you have to make a way so you find the right balance with that. And that's super important. And I see many teachers out there, then they're looking always for that inspiration, of course. That's normal. They're looking for inspiration. They're looking for how's he doing it, for an example. And of course, many people, which is normal, that we just show the nice side. I mean, it's similar to a client. When a client or a student, you want to call it how you want, when they come to us, I ask them, you know, if ever how they are. They ask me how I am, but I'm not going to start to talk about my problems, for example. I mean, you could, but you know, I'm not talking about my problems. That's not what it's about. Even it's not talking about their problems. Their problems should be at the door. But I give one question, and then you say, my problem. And then I say, okay, thanks, done. Let's go to work. But still, you know, it's still, you are not going to get into it. In general, you try to be positive. You try to give those people in the hour that they have, that precious hour, the only hour they have usually for the whole week for themselves. You kind of try to make them work, to make them feel, to connect them with themselves. So yes, so we tend to, there is no space for us to express ourselves. You can do that then maybe with your partner at home, with your friends or whatever. But in the Pilates industry itself as well, I have the feeling that many people, of course, we just like Instagram, Facebook, all of that. It's all about showing all the great stuff. Exactly. Everybody is showing just, which is normal, showing the chocolate face, this the nice side. And we forget that, that it's very important to also face and show the dark side. And that's part of it. And there is no chocolate side without the vanilla side. And yes, there's two parts to it. And yes, and it's nice. I would wish myself that we talk more about that, and that people now, especially with Pilates, of course, but it's anywhere else is the same, but that people are more standing to that as well, and talking about what the problems that they have, and that they feel not alone in the community, that many teachers are having the similar problem financially, or making the structure, or that emotionally that they feel drained, or all those things, or where they say, you know, there is solution to every problem, but you have to feel that you can talk about those things, and not that you feel, everybody looks glamorous, everybody's successful, everybody's great, everybody can do it except me.
Exactly.
So the human side.
And it's so good to bring this up, because when we are in an event, in a congress, outside of the course, outside of the workshop, we always have the opportunity to talk, right? And and then we can feel the teachers, you know, you can feel us, but there you have to be like 100%. You have to be a lion, you know, because people expect that also. Because
but it's normal. I mean, event, especially those big events, it's a performance. It's a networking performance. It's not real. I mean, it's not real. It's like watching a Hollywood movie in a way. It's not really real. You can take a few things in there, but it's not real. And that's okay. I mean, it's something to, you know, common energy. It's almost like going on a concert. You know, you go to a concert and you just, wow, and you want to, wow. And it's nice. You get that inspiration, you get that power. But, you know, it's just that part of the truth. Yes. And when then people think that's what it is, then yes, that's not. There is a whole other, it's the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole other part below it.
Exactly.
And this part we rarely talk about. And
exactly.
yes,
And
I wish myself that there's more communication about those things.
Exactly.
And I'm very critical. That's part being a dancer. I don't know. I have, but it's very normal. I mean, as well. I wish, you know, also Pilates and my life will teach me that I become more and more peaceful about it, that I become more and more balanced, that I'm less emotionally,
Involved.
involved in it, that I just kind of become this Zen master who just goes, in a way, this yoga thing, we are not doing yoga, but it's the same thing. We just want peace. I want to be in peace with myself. I want to be in peace with the people I'm around. I just want to be in peace. And that's what I'm living for. And this is how I want to communicate. But then there comes this emotion, and then and you talk about things, and you get all emotional. And then things come out the wrong way, and then you're like, oh shit. Yeah, and it reminds us that we're human.
Yes, that's why I love you. You had to be the one to finish this.
I don't know. And I'm so touched also. I mean, I didn't see much, and also when Kathy was talking, and she almost got those tears when she was talking about how much Pilates is for her, or the value. And I got shivers. I mean, it's incredible, the power that is behind there, the human side that is behind there. It's beautiful, and it's important to express that, the fragility that is there. Not always the thing. We're strong, and Pilates makes you strong, and and good, and always, And we know our clients have it. They all have it, and we try to, give them the way to be confident about themselves, and that's the same thing that we need as a teacher. So I want my fellow teachers also to just know, and that we are all humans. There is no, I totally don't believe in any guru or things like that. Those things I think are in our past, the guruism or whatever. We don't need that anymore. We don't need gurus. We don't need leaders. We have now such a connection. We have not just the internet, but in general, just people connect on a whole different level. And if you are interested in something, you can just dig in, and you get the source, and you plug in, and you get what you need. And eventually you're going to meet the people that bring you further. You listen.
Yes.
So the sense of community has a different level now.
Yes.
And that's super important. Not just Pilates community, but community in general. And so that's nice to be part of that. Yeah.
I have a question.
Of course.
When you started, so then you can have your tea, right? Like at least a little bit. When you started with all of those videos and everything, and people started to call you to be in events, and for your personality, and for the the way you did the stuff, maybe you didn't think about it, but people made you like a superstar, right? So when Jean-Claude are in the room, it's like, oh my God, Jean-Claude, it's like a Bon Jovi or whatever.
Just an illusion. It's an illusion.
No, it's not an illusion. You were amazing.
Thank you very much.
And you know that. I'm suspect. I love you. But how did you deal with that? Especially at the beginning. It was weird, or you knew how to have fun about all of those, things and behaviors? Well,
one thing as well, of course, is that, I was a dancer before. So this whole thing of being in the spotlight,
stage,
being on stage, and having people having this kind of sense of a fame, or a little bit this life of a rock star, traveling around and being, received. So I got that as well as a dancer already, and a good part,
Yes.
And I still think that even with all of that, that I kept my feet on the ground, and I felt how important that is to keep your feet on the ground. Of course, it's nice to be that people tell you beautiful things, how great the performance was. But every dancer, you were great on stage. The first thing a dancer will say, yeah, but he will always go with the but. At this part I could have, that's just the natural thing. Except there are some exceptions who are the divas, or who just completely take off. Okay, that's their thing. But of course, it stays, this criticism, so that's something that I had as a dancer already. So for me to have that in the Pilates industry was not suddenly something completely new. It was just different, and I was just surprised that it exists, honestly. And that is the first time in Brazil I realized. I was like, really? Are you serious? I mean, there is such a I don't know, love or this hype. There's such a hype about Pilates. I didn't know that. I didn't know it exists. And it's of course nice. I'm happy about it. It was such a pleasure to go and teach as well in Brazil. But yeah, but of course, you know, it's not that I feel that it's nice to inspire people. But what I think it's even more nice than when I see those people that I inspire, that if I can give them the sense that they feel that I'm just another human being as them. And I have my defaults, I have my problems, I don't have the perfect technique. It doesn't exist, the perfect technique. It doesn't matter, the perfect technique. And yeah, it's the work that matters. And that's nice to share those people, that to actually destroy that illusion of the icon.
Yes.
So, and that's also important, because yeah, so it's nice to have that opportunity, because it gave me the opportunity, those videos, to travel the world. And that's something that I would be missing now if I would just teach in my studio, because as a dancer I was traveling a lot and performing all over the place. So if I wouldn't only be in my studio, I couldn't do this job. For me, if I would be every day in my studio, always in Munich, teaching the same clients at the same day all year, I would go crazy. I couldn't do it. I love to have my clients. I love my regulars, but I have to get out. Once a month, once every 2 months, I have to get out. I have to do something else, meet new people. Otherwise, I can't do this anymore. So that's also the balance I'm trying to find, the balance of this regular, this routine, which can become dry, or some people say boring, but for me it just feels dry, and the excitement that you get when you do workshops and you do conventions, and so it's yeah, that's what it's. That's nice. I love the combination of both. And I don't want to give up one or the other. I don't want to do only workshops and seminars and traveling. I would go crazy if I do that. If I would only stay in Munich teaching, I would go crazy. So I have to find the balance, work-life balance. And I'm on a good way. Since this year, finally, I'm getting there.
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
But this video thing, this whole YouTube thing was not. It wasn't planned. It was completely. I told you the story once, I think. No.
Yes.
It was my mother. You know, it was this reformer video from that I actually filmed as an exercising video. This first on techno music, on Stefan Bodzin Liebe ist, this black and white, and the reformer, advanced reformer on techno music. This was just a video that I did to correct myself. It was like a training video. I put a camera. I do my exercises, and then I look at it and I say, yeah, I can do this better. I can work on this alignment. This is how I used to work as a dancer as well. Put the camera, because the mirror is just giving you one truth. The camera gives you another eye. So that's what I did. And my mother was like, hey, looks so cool. You should put this on YouTube. I was like, what? My mother said, you put this on YouTube? And I was like, I'm not going to put this on YouTube. This is terrible. It's a terrible camera angle. It's just a training video. But she's like, yeah, but it's great. If people ask you, what's the reformer? What is Pilates? You can show them something. And I was like, yeah, actually, that's true. And I actually put that video on only for people who are interested, people I meet. If they say, yeah, what is Pilates reformer? Or Pilates is mat exercise. And they were like, yeah, there's a part of it is mat. But we have also other equipment, preparados and stuff working. And so I can show them this. And that was the only intention, actually, to have a little demonstration of what is possible to do on a reformer as well, besides what people imagine of what is a Pilates class. And that it became what it is, and that it opened all those doors. It was just for that kind of social media, it was the right time for this kind of thing to start and to open. And yeah. And here we are.
You should do more now that we have the Instagram, and then you know how to be in a live already, because you did awesome.
My feeling actually is now I just have to do, since there's so much going on and it's amazing, all the people who do great stuff and great videos and great things, the less I have to do. I mean, I kind of, with this part, I did my part. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't feel that I have to, I'm still, of course, I post some Instagram things. I do sometimes a little thing, but it's okay. I mean, I kind of put my thing out there, and now I just want to work with people. I just want to teach and share with people and learn more. This is really what I'm really into now.
Oh, you're amazing. You're going to be in Portugal here
Yes.
next year.
Ooh,
I will
February.
see you. Yeah.
Yes, big conference.
You're going to be in Brazil more than
Twice.
once.
In Brazil as well. Yes.
Yeah. And you were off right now. You just came from
I was in Athens.
Greece.
Yes, in Athens. Exactly. Big convention, not pure Pilates, big sports convention. Usually something I rarely do, but it's an event too. It's an access. It's like, you know, there's all kind of sports. It's a huge convention. I think it's the biggest body, mind, fitness convention in Greece. And for me, it's also, I see it as my mission, not to necessarily teach people who know Pilates and who know everything in classical Pilates, but also to give people access to it and to share what people usually, you know, to pick them up where they are. And I love that.
Yes.
So I'm totally open to teach anybody. I'm teaching on any equipment. Of course, I have my preference and everything, but it doesn't matter. I just try to make it work. And sometimes I only teach, you know, 2 exercises. I don't know how many. I don't know. On the Reformer workshop, I think I taught in 4 hours 4 exercises. But it wasn't about teaching the exercise. Exactly. I did 4 exercises because it felt good, it felt safe, and I tried to work on something. I was working on tactile cueing. But it's something, it doesn't matter. I don't have to do 100 exercises to work on tactile cueing. I just have to maybe pass a message how I use tactile cueing and the power and the sense that I put in it. And once, if you understand just a part of it, a fraction of it, you can translate it to all your teaching. And this is in the workshops which I try to do. So I'm not there to teach exercises. I'm not there to even tell them what is classical Pilates and what is not. I'm just actually there to give them a little tool, just one tool, something that they can put into their practice and into with the work with their clients. And if I manage to do and just give them one tool, one thing that they can translate, then that's great.
Yes.
I love that. That's great. And I'm really happy.
Oh, let me tell you something. We have 8 minutes, 7 minutes.
8 minutes left.
Yes. Can you believe it?
I can't.
I would be available for you for 3 hours or more. But the Instagram will cut us in 7 minutes. Yes. But let me ask you something. You said about the human being, no? Like we are human, all human, trying to figure it out, you know, its own space in this world, in the industry also, kind of. What would you say to almost finish this conversation? What would you say to Pilates instructors that see you as an inspiration? How would you say to them a way to get better as a teacher? How can they work better? How can they do this work better? In general, I don't know if you understood my question.
No, I think I understood. I think it's with the, you know, if you want change to happen, change has to happen within yourself. So that's kind of, I think, that's why it's so important with Pilates, and it's tough when you have a full day and running a studio, but that's why it's so important to practice. That's why it's so important to do Pilates as a Pilates instructor, to stay connected with the work, to stay connected with the exercise himself. And yes, and because it's within that you're gonna, you know, within the change that you feel in your own body, within that struggle that you also as a teacher go through, the older you get, you know, you change. My body, every morning I wake up, I have a new body. So within revisiting yourself and recalibrating yourself, your body to the world and the other way around, I think this is the way to keep it fresh and to keep it true and to keep it real. And I think that's the most important. And that people really understand that it's a learning process, of course, but also that it's important that everybody has to think for themselves, really. Everybody has to think for themselves and not take things for granted, what they hear. and just repeating certain rules and regulations and restrictions. You ask yourself, why does this rule exist, and why should I apply it, and how does it all fit together? And it happens too easily that people just kind of feel, this is the structure, this is what it is, it can't change. The thing of black and white thing, this general thinking of it has to be black or white. And it just isn't. It simply isn't black and white. But it has to be, or it helps for sometimes to be black and white, so people start to learn or understand a technique. So that it all comes from the certification. When you get certified, it has to be a little bit black and white, because you have to start with the rules and you have to start with the structure. But after, you have to break it out. It has to become really gray, because that's what it is. Because we work in the gray zone, and this is also what it doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter what you learned, it will always, you will always have to break out somehow out of this. But to find the right way to break out, but stay truthful to it, stay connected with it. Don't just do anything, don't change every day. You have to have a certain plan for yourself. There has to be a certain direction. Otherwise, every day you start new and you go left, you go right, up and down. No, there has to be a continuous direction. You can change, but it has to be, you have to direct your energy. Yes. So, but please stop with those rules. I mean, I get it. Rules we need rules. But, when I always hear those people, but they said, and it's this, and it's not this. And I was like, in this case, maybe, or maybe there, but not there, or with this body, but not with this body, or maybe with you and not with me. And to tell that, nobody knows nobody has the master plan. I mean, I haven't met anybody. I met many inspiring people, not just in Pilates and dance, choreographers, artists, but the real master plan, we don't have the master plan. We are all just players. The master plan, we didn't figure it out yet. So, so don't think black and white, because we don't know nothing about the master plan.
I used to
so maybe I can give that out.
I about the gray zone that you said, I used to say even better. We have we can play with the 50 grades of gray, right?
Yes.
The 50 tones of gray. So
the shades.
Tones. Yeah, shades, exactly. we have a plan of grays to have fun, right? So it's okay. It's really okay. It's what a wise words and amazing words. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you. You're brilliant.
My pleasure.
I'm so honored that you are here. I'm so happy to have you in this field, to have you as a friend, to have you as an inspiration. So thank you, Jean-Claude. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, sharing for an hour.
Are we done? Are we over with the time? Do you have a counter? How many minutes are left?
1 minute.
1 minute. Oh, well, then I want to thank you for inviting me to the tea. I really enjoyed it. And I want to thank all the people who are listening.
Yes,
and I want to thank all the people who believe in me. And I want to thank all the people who don't believe in me. And, we're here. We all try our best.
Yes.
And that's it. I mean, just be strong. Yes, be confident. Go for your dreams and be free.
Yes.
And I hope to see you soon in person.
Yes, you will.
All of you. Yes.
You will. I will call you very quick. Thank you so much for everyone and for you especially for today. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Beijo. Ciao.
Cheiro, like I said. Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Take care,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.